Hi, my name is Bob New. I'm going to talk about sentence tree structures, and specifically the difference that I see between bottom-up constructions and left-to-right constructions of tree structures. First, let me explain how I draw trees. Many people use the convention to bring lines together and a point underneath each of the nodes, as shown in the top tree of this image. I have found that it's easier to explain my method of constructing trees if I draw the trees as shown in the bottom, where each node is represented by a flat horizontal line. These two trees are equivalent. Now let me show how a tree is constructed from the bottom up. You start with a leaf for each of the words in the sentence. So these vertical lines are the leaves of the tree. Then you add a node above the leaves with a label. Now we have to add nodes above nodes, and the process continues until the tree is constructed. Now we have the entire tree constructed. All of the nodes have been added. The important point here is that in order to add nodes above nodes, you had to have the nodes below, and you had to have the words below. So before we could draw the S node, we had to have all of the words down to the lazy dog. Left-to-right construction is much different from bottom-up construction. We do not require that all of the words of the sentence have been heard before we can start constructing the tree. We start with the first word, create a leaf, and put an empty node above it. Then for each word that comes after that, we link the word to some word that came before it. So for instance, the word quick links to the word the. We do not create a new node, we just extend the node and attach the word quick. Same with the word brown. We extend the node and attach the word. And the word fox. The word jumped requires that we add two new nodes to the tree structure. We create a node above that becomes the S node of the sentence. Below this we create a VP node, and to this VP node we attach the word jumped. The word over requires one new node to be added to the tree structure. We visually extend the VP node over. We attach the new node for over and connect the word over to this new node. The word the requires one new node to be added to the tree structure. Visually extend, create the new node, and attach. The word lazy does not require a new node. We simply extend the node and attach. Same with the word dog. So let me emphasize why I think left to right deserves consideration compared to bottom up. We don't have to hear all of the words of a sentence before we can construct the tree structure. So when we get to the word jumped, we've added the S node and the VP node. With bottom-up construction, we had to hear all of the words of the sentence before we could add these two nodes. Now we're ready to move on. And if the rest of the sentence is different than the more familiar form of the sentence, then we don't care. The S and the VP nodes are still in place. They're still the same as they were before. This is why I think left to right deserves consideration as an alternative to bottom up. As I have been describing this process of constructing trees from left to right, I have shown how some words require that we add one or two new nodes to the tree structure. The shape of adding new nodes is controlled by link actions. There are 4 link actions as shown here. Each word of a sentence is assigned one of these link actions. The append link action does not create any new nodes. You simply attach the word to the existing node. Insert above and below creates 2 new nodes. we create a node above. Below that we create a second node, and we attach the word to this second node. Insert below creates one new node below the target node. We create the node, and then we attach the word to that new node. So this is really the magic of this left-to-right construction method. Each link action defines 0, 1, or 2 new nodes to add to the tree structure. Each link action defines a compound action that becomes a building block for the construction process. This left-to-right tree construction process with link actions works for any tree structure. I have demonstrated this by taking all 39,000 sentences from the Penn tree bank, extracting the tree structure, from the tree structure extracting the link actions, and from those link actions reconstructing the tree structure. The tree structures before and after this conversion process match exactly for all of the 39,000 sentences of the Penn tree bank. Another way to compare bottom-up versus left-to-right is to look at the productions that are used in each method. For bottom-up, we use phrase structure grammars. So, for example, we have a sentence can be rewritten as a noun phrase followed by a verb phrase. Or we have a noun phrase that can be written as a determiner followed by an adjective, followed by an adjective, followed by a noun, as we saw in the quick brown fox. When constructing from left to right in this method I'm describing, the link action productions are smaller, more compact. There are only 3 pieces in each production. There is the part-of-speech tag for the target word, there is the part-of-speech tag for the source word, and there's the link action itself. So we have a determiner can be the target word for an append action from an adjective, as in the quick. Or we have a determiner can be a target word for an insert above and below from a verb, as we saw from jumped. When we added jumped, jumped was the source word, and the target word was the. In the Penn tree bank, there are about 39,000 sentences. If we use phrase structures to extract productions from those sentences, we will get about 15,000 productions. But in fact, in all of language, there is an infinite number of productions using this technique. The infinity of the productions matches the infinity of language itself. Compare that to extracting productions based on the link actions that I have been describing. In the Penn tree bank, there are about 7,100 productions. But more importantly, when you go out and look at the maximum possible number of productions, it's limited to about 8,400. The reason for this is because each production using link actions has exactly 3 parts. The part-of-speech tag for the target word, the part-of-speech tag for the source word, and the link action itself. So the most there can ever be is 46 times 46 times 4, or about 8,400 productions. So here's the crux of the problem for me. If in fact our minds use phrase structure productions to parse sentences and to create tree structures for those sentences, and if in fact our minds must recognize when a new phrase structure production has arrived with a sentence, we must have something down underneath the productions themselves to help us recognize the new production, define what it needs to be, and then produce that production in order to parse the sentence. So consider these noun phrases. Each one of these noun phrases requires a unique phrase structure production. If you're working with phrase structure grammars, you can't get around it. You have to have this many productions. Now consider the link action productions. These 4 link action productions will cover all of these noun phrases and a whole lot more with varying lengths and sizes. the simplicity of the link action productions, where each one is the same format, they each have 3 parts, compared to the variability and the complexity of the phrase structure productions, coupled with the number of productions required when using link actions versus the number of productions required when using phrase structure productions, I believe begs us to take a closer look at how these link actions can be used for left to right tree construction.